Okay, so let's have a dig into your values, shall we? Now I hope that you've got a pad and pen ready, and I hope you're going to take part. I talk about experience videos, and I talked about it at the start of the course and how important they are to get involved in these experience videos, because you need to know how this feels. You need to know how it feels to go through this process so that you know what your client's feeling, or get an idea of what your client's feeling when they're going through this process. We need to understand what's really important to you, and you need to understand what's really important to your clients. But more importantly, they need to understand what's really important to them. So we're going to go through a values elicitation that's a bit different to what you've done before, because it's about really getting attached to those values and understanding where they come from. So what I'm going to ask you to do first is just draw 3 columns on your page. You can flip it around if you need to. Just draw 3 columns. At the top of the first one, write value, top of the second one, thought, and the top of the third one, feeling. And then I'm going to ask you to answer the question. Over the past 6 to 9 months, what has been really important to me? Over the past 6 to 9 months, what has been really important to me? And what we're looking for here is a feeling, an emotion, something that's been really important to you. Now you might have to dig a bit further past it sometimes. Somebody might come up and say something along the lines of family. My family is really important to me. The counter I always have to that is, okay, what does your family give you? See, it's about what it gives you in there. It's not about, yes, they're important. Of course, my family are important to me. But if I was to put a value to that, if I was to say, what do my family give me? I would absolutely say love. Therefore, love is the value, really. So I'll put love at the top there, just as an example. And then once you've got one, you can ask yourself the question, what else has been really important to me? What I'd like you to do though is leave a bit of a gap so that you've got room to fill in the rest of the form when we get to that point. By the way, there is a version of this you can download. It'll be in the first section of the course, you know, where we did everything was all in one place in that written lecture right at the start of the course. So there is a version of this already written out for you. If you want to print that off and use it, you can do. Create your own, of course, if you need to. So what else over the last 6 to 9 months, what else has been really important to you? Now, some people might say money. Money is really important to you. Those are the sorts of things that, again, I would say, so what does that money give you? Does it give you power? Does it give you significance? Does it give you freedom, maybe? Now, I'll put freedom down. Not that money's massively important to me. It is important to me, of course, because it allows me to support my family and that. So I'm just giving you examples at the moment. So I'm going to put freedom down as an example next to that one there. And I hope as we're going along, you're starting to think of things that are really important to you. Now you can do the 6 to 9 months, what's important to you, 3 or 4 times, get 3 or 4 values out of it. Once you've done that, once you've got a few values out of it, I want you to think about over the last 4 to 6 weeks. Over the last 4 to 6 weeks, what's been really important to you? What's been most important to you over the last 4 to 6 weeks? And again, just ask that a question a couple of times, put another couple of examples down on your page. If you need to pause the video, go for it right now, go for it and start filling some of these out. Fill out some of the 6 to 9 months ones and then the last 4 to 6 week ones. Really fill them out, pause the video, I promise I'm not going anywhere, and get them filled out before we carry on. Now I am going to carry on because I can't just stand here waiting for you. I promise I won't go anywhere if you pause the video, but I can't just stand here waiting for you, so I'm going to carry on. There's one more thing to do with the most important stuff, and that's I want you to look across your entire life. Across your entire life, what has been most important to you? What has been most important to you over your entire life? Now, if you get the same answers, that's absolutely fine, but you might just come up with something different that you didn't think of in the last 6 to 9 months or the last 4 to 6 weeks. So just consider that for a moment. Again, pause the video if you have to, and just consider what's been most important to you over the last entirety of your life, over your whole life. What's been most important to you? Get 3 or more 4 things if you can. Just get a list up for yourselves. Once you've done that, come back to me and then we'll go through the next part of the course. Okay, I'm going to presume you've done all that, and I really hope you have, because it's really important that you get involved in this. I keep saying it, but it's really important you get involved. So what I want you to do now is I want you to consider each value in turn. Start at the very top, and I want you to think about that value, that thing that's really important to you. So in this case, it's love, whatever it may be for you. And I want you to write down What's the first thing you think of when you think of that value? And write that in the thought section. What's the first thing you think of when you think of that value? For me, I might put in there that it's my family. My family are the ones who love me and who I love and adore. They are the most important. So I would write a sentence. Try and write a sentence, not just 1 or 2 words. Try and write a sentence about the first couple of things you think of when you consider that value. Now again, if you need to do this and you need to pause the video, I highly recommend you do. We'll go through this whole thing together. So pause the video again and do the top one there. What's the first thing you think of when you consider that value? Again, I'm going to carry on presuming you're doing this, and thank you for doing it if you really are. We're now going to move across. And we're going to ask ourselves, what's the first feeling that comes to mind when you think about that value? Now you may think, well, that's already a feeling. That's already a feeling. Love's already a feeling. So of course the first feeling that's going to come to mind is love. Well, actually, for me, the first feeling that comes to mind when I consider the love and the love for my family is my contentment. How content I feel when I'm feeling loved by my family and when I'm loving my family. So I might put contentment in there. Another feeling that might crop up with the love of my family is fulfillment. I feel completely fulfilled when I'm with my family, when I'm loving my family and I'm being loved by my family. What we're doing here is we're stretching the boundaries of the value, and there's a reason for that. You'll remember right back at the start of the course when I talked about the transitional process, because we don't just need to get the thought process in alignment, we need to get it emotionally, don't we? So we're stretching all of those out here. We're making sure that there's an emotional connection, an emotional attachment to each of these values, because then we're likely to walk towards them, we're likely to work with them, we're likely to live with them rather than living against them, which we might be doing. Now, all of this, as we're going through this, you need to give your clients time to really think about that before they fill it in. Really feel that before they fill it in. This gives them the opportunity to really dig deep in and discover what's in their core and who they are in their core, because their values, our values, are a massive part of who we are. This exercise can take up a full session, maybe even 2 full sessions, if you're digging really deep down. You can send this away with people, send the form away with people once you've got the process started. I would never just send them away with the values in. I'd do the first couple with them and then ask them to do the rest. But when they come back, make sure they bring it with them so you can run through it with them, so that you can understand them more. Remember, one of the key parts is you understanding them more. That's going to build your rapport with them, but so they can run through it with you. And you can ask them questions about it. It's a great lead in, and then ask an open question and then sit back and enjoy the silence while they talk about it. This will give people an insight into themselves that they've never had before, and they might just start to see where they've been living against their values. Okay, so before you carry on with the videos, make sure you've gone through this process. Even if you don't do them all today, do 3 or 4 today. Just really dig deep down into yourself, find the value, write down what your first thought, when you think about that value, what your first thought about it is, and then what your feelings about that value are as well. It might just open you up to new depths into yourself, and maybe some areas where you've maybe not been living to your values and that's been upsetting you inside somewhere. Once you've done that, I'll be waiting for you in the next video. But please make sure you do that first.